Alright everybody, we are going to do a quick lesson on the basics of HTML. That is hypertext markup language. It's what turns a bunch of text into a structured document that your web browser can view in all sorts of stylized ways. The HTML itself is not going to be what's going to make it styled. It's not going to choose the fonts, it's not going to choose the colors, it's not going to choose the layout. But it is going to be how we specify the structure of the document so that we can then do that in something called CSS. We're going to do the style in CSS, cascading style sheets. So to explain what the heck I'm talking about, I have sort of a bit of a document here that I'd like to turn into a web page. Just some random story about me and some things that I've chosen because they're the kind of things that you need to use HTML for. So I have my file, it's a .html file, and I'm using the program called Notepad++. Notepad++ is free to download for anybody using a PC. If you are using a Mac at home, then I suggest the program called Atom. Atom, A-T-O-M, and it's a good plain text editor. What's different about these programs is that it doesn't apply any kind of, you can't style the text here. This is just pure plain text in, a default font, and you can't like underline it or highlight it. Or I mean, you can highlight it, but you can't italicize it or change the font size exactly like. It's not like Word, in other words. You can't use Word to code a website, but you can use Notepad++, and it's got all sorts of cool features. So here we are going to learn some HTML. First thing we're going to learn is how do you look at this as a web page. This is not a web page, it's just a document I typed up. So what you got to do is save it. Every time you go to view your web page, you got to save it. And then you can go to the Run menu. I'm not sure if you can see that too well. You go to the Run menu, and then you can run it in a browser. If you're at school, we're going to use Chrome because that's the only browser that's not out of date at our school. So use Chrome. Other browsers, it's up to you. If you're at home, use whatever is up to date. So we'll view this. Look at this document with all its paragraphs and lists and things, and oh my gosh, it turns into this really ugly mash of text. It has no breaks. The paragraphs, the lists, are all just kind of shoved together. And that's why we need HTML. This is Chrome, the web browser. It takes in plain text and just doesn't know what to do with it. So we're going to use HTML to give this document structure, and then the web browser knows what to do with it. And later on, we can tell the web browser with CSS, how to style the structure that we've created. So we're going to take this content and we're going to move it down. I'm going to go way down, get it out of my way. And I'm going to show you some basic stuff about HTML first of all. So to make this an official web page, we're going to start with this thing. Notice that we got some weird symbols going on. This is the less than sign, shift period, shift comma, and then we're going to put in doc type HTML. This is what's called a tag. This is what's called a tag. Anything in these sort of greater than less than signs or angle brackets, sometimes they're called. This is a tag, and each tag means a different thing. It's like a piece of code. And in this particular case, doc type tells the browser you are using this particular version of HTML. There's no number here, but it's actually, if you just type in HTML, it assumes the latest version, which is 5. I'm not sure what at the top of my head, because you guys just type in HTML now. You don't have to type in what, but it's HTML5. Then we got some other stuff to put in. We have this HTML tag. Notice if you are using Notepad++ and you've saved your document as an HTML file, .html extension, it colors some tags. This one's got some blue boxes and things. This one's, all of it's colored blue. So that's great. That'll help you. And then, so HTML and then /HTML. These are an open and closed tag. They're a pair of tags that go together. And everything between the open and closed tag will have some structure applied to it. So in this case, pardon me, this is the HTML tag. It just tells the web browser that everything from there to there is going to be our HTML code. Our HTML is broken into two sections. The first section is the head, and it also has a close tag. And then the second section is the body, and the body goes beneath the head, or the head goes on top of the body, just like a human being. So these are some tags that will give your document some structure. So what do you put inside of the head? You put in things that the web browser needs to think about. We're not going to use the head too much in this video. We'll come back to that in the next video. The body is where you put everything that's going to be in your website. The words, the pictures, the structure, all that, the layout. All that stuff is going to be in the body. And that's where I'm going to be putting my stuff that I just copy and pasted. So all this stuff here is going to get copy and pasted to this part right here. So we got text such as the title, the paragraphs, the list. That's all part of the body. Body is, again, the content of your web page. So you might think, okay, great, you did all this work. What do you do with it now? What do you do? I'm just going to indent. Oftentimes we indent these things to keep them organized. Later on I'll show you how to auto indent. We don't have it installed yet at the school, but we'll get some auto indenting. I just select things and press tab right now. If I go and save this and view it in my browser, nothing's actually changed. Well, something changed. I guess I copied and pasted it. I didn't cut and paste, so delete these. So you might think, this is a waste of time. What am I doing with my life here? Nothing's changing. Well, that's the beginning of it. And now that we've done that work, we're ready to actually put in the specific tags that will change these things into what I want them to be. So each of these tags that we're learning are just the ones you need to use, and in an assignment very soon, you've got to demonstrate your understanding of them by using them all. So take a look at them. First off, I want Mr. Pelche to be the big title. So if you want something to be a title, you use a tag called a header tag. It's different than the head tag, and it's just H and then a number, and you can see it's predicting what I want, between 1 and 6. I'm going to choose H1, and I like to just double check. If I click on the close or open tag, it highlights its pair, so I know I did it right. H1 is going to make this into a header, and header number 1 is the biggest of the headers. I'll just refresh over here. There it is. That's the default, styling for a header. We can change that later on with CSS, but that's good. Later on, I'll turn in things like things I like. I'll use an H3 for a subheading. That'll be smaller, all the way down to H6, which is like super tiny, and and not super useful on its own. But again, we can redesign how it's styled later on. So I'll just stick in some H3 tags here. Actually, don't want to make the link a title. We'll come back to that later on. And there we go. So these are all kind of subheadings in H3. A little bit smaller. Let's take a look and see, is that true? Remember, I have to save it first and then I refresh. Hey, there we go. My document's kind of looking a little bit better. You got your header and subheadings. Next is going to be paragraphs. Notice I had 2 paragraphs, and unfortunately they are all squished together. It doesn't seem to acknowledge that I pressed enter here. So to the rescue is the P tag. P for paragraph, and just like the H1s and H3s, there is a close tag for that. So I have P/P to surround one paragraph, and P/P to surround a second paragraph. Here we go. And just to take a look at what that looks like, you can see now that those are actually now separated into multiple paragraphs. Woohoo! Onward we go. Next. Lists are the next one. Lists are interesting because they are an example of HTML tags that require multiple tags to make work. And lists are actually pretty useful for things you would never guess are lists. For example, any kind of like drop-down navigation menu is usually structured with a list. So I'm going to show you 2 different kinds of lists. We have the ordered list and unordered list. OL for ordered list. We'll do that one first. And /OL. And then we have LI is our list item tag. So we need kind of a combination. OL tells us that these list items are going to be ordered lists. So this means they're going to get a number in front of them. 1, 2, 3. We can change that later to be a Roman numeral or a letter or kanji or any sort of things. But right now it's going to be numbered. And the list item tags are surrounding li/li. Every time you surround some text in these things, and it becomes another item in the list, and it'll get a number. So if I save that and refresh that, there it is. I get 1, 2, 3. I'm getting these things numbered. I should probably just increase the size so we can see what's going on in the video. Yeah, there it is. That's the story. So we got also another kind of list, the unordered list, which is a UL tag. And that's for things that are just bullet points instead of numbered or in some kind of order. So I'll do the same sort of thing. This is where cutting and pasting probably comes in handy. You can copy and paste all your LIs and /LIs. Just be careful you get the right thing. If you copy the close open tag for the close tag or something, then that can cause some problems later on. So again, saving. Always save your document before previewing. Go over here, refresh, and then all these, previously just on the same line will now be bullet points. That will be separate. So there you go. There's some lists. Next, we have ourselves a picture, and I have a picture ready to go in my folder. The picture is an interesting tag. It doesn't have a close tag. It's just a single tag like this, IMG. Except that, you might have more than one picture, and this doesn't read your mind to tell you what picture. I mean, if I had 2 pictures and I used the image tag, but if I did, how would it know which was the first picture, which is the second picture, which is the third picture? It would be kind of confusing. So what you can do is add in an attribute. Attributes are great. Any tag can get an attribute, but the image tag really needs it. This particular attribute is called source, and it's spelled SRC. And all attributes will turn red in Notepad++ if you type them in wrong. If you type them in right, sorry. If they type them in wrong, they'll just still be black. So you did it right if it's red. So SRC is for source, and then for all attributes, after you type in the attribute, you put an equal sign and then 2 double quotes. And then the value can go in here. So I can choose the picture that I want it to be. So all my pictures are in the images folder. And then this one's called redbox.jpg, which is a picture of one of the earliest Dungeons and Dragons games that you could buy back in the 1970s, which was a ton of fun. So if I go and check to see if this is working, if I refresh, oh dear, hard to click on this Surface Pro 3. Yeah, there it is. The picture showed up nicely. So good times. It's maybe a little bit on the big side or not. You can decide what you think. There's a couple other attributes you can apply. You could do width, for example, or height, and specify a number of pixels. Maybe I want it to be 200 pixels wide, so I can type in 200px, and it will auto size the height. You can specify the height as well if you want to. So refresh, and sure enough, clicking so hard. There you go, it's nice and small now. So this, you can do whatever you want with attributes and HTML. Alright, here's a link. So actually, this isn't what I want to put the link. I do want to make a link, but links are usually an inline thing. So it might be nice to take something like UBC and turn that into a link and be able to click on that. Or Lord Bing might be a good thing to turn into a link. So since we're at Lord Bing, we'll do that. So if I wanted to turn that into a link, you have to surround it in the tags that will make it a link. And for a link, it's the A tag. I put a question mark by accident, but it is a good question. Why is it the A tag? There's no A in link, and the reason is because that refers to anchor. The word is anchor, and in the old days of HTML, everyone called links anchors. They were like, hey, check out this cool anchor I found. Or can you anchor me to your website or something like that. I don't think that actually didn't take off, and it wasn't long before everyone just called them links. But it's still called a tag in HTML for historical reasons. So hey, cool. So now this is going to be a little bit messy because there's not a lot of room here. but the word is attributes is href, and you can say href equals and then the two quotes. You can type in a website address, and then the text between the A and close A tag will become a link to that website. So I'll just do HTTP. You have to put in the HTTP stuff, by the way. / www dot is it I don't know, we have a long one. I think we still use the old one, bing dot vsb.bc.ca. I think so, that technically still works. Now unfortunately it's kind of made a mess of it, so I'll just push this down so you can see it all in one line. Actually won't matter as far as the browser is concerned. It'll still put that all on the same line. So there it is. That's the A tag surrounding the word Lord Bing and specifying that that is now a link to this website. If I was to view it, I'll refresh. I think I clicked it. Oh yeah, there it is. And I'll just zoom in. You can see Lord Bing is now a link, and it links to the school website, which apparently that actually isn't the school website. Maybe there's no www in this particular case. I'll retry it. So I'll go back, I saved it, I refresh it, and I try it again. And oh, that works. So we have linked that now. Okay, so there you go. There's links. Ooh, links so good. That's kind of what makes the website, World Wide Web work. So we got pictures, we got links, we got just about everything now. Lists, paragraphs, headings, subheadings. Last but not least, we're going to embed a YouTube video. I have a YouTube video ready to go of me with my sword. And you could just make a link to this, and it will just be a little blue link you can click on. It will take you to YouTube. But you can also embed YouTube videos and many other sort of media that's that's like YouTube. So we can click share, and that shows some stuff. But you can click on all these different social media links. But also there's embed for our website. Down here, embed. Maybe I should zoom in. If I click embed, it actually gives us HTML, which you can copy and paste. You can also modify what it's going to look like by checking or unchecking these things, and choose the start time and all sorts of stuff that will modify the HTML. But I'm just going to get the basic stuff and go back to my website, and I'll just plunk that in here. And if I save it and refresh it, we will see that my website now has a YouTube video embedded at the bottom. And not every YouTube video is embeddable. So, if you try to embed something and it has some error messages, it says, you cannot embed this content. It's just the content creator decided that you can't do that, and you have to respect that. So you just pick a different video. It's fine. Okay, so this is our basic video about how to do HTML. You learned about tags. You learned about sort of the main structure of the document, and then inside the body, we learned all about different tags that give our document structure. Notice we didn't learn how to make a beautiful web page. Our web page is very boring and plain. That's okay. That's what all websites look like underneath all the beautiful CSS. If you looked at Facebook or any social media site or any site at all, this is what they look like without CSS. So in our next video, we're going to learn how to connect this to CSS, and I think it'll be great. So stay tuned for more. Here I go, turning it off.